Hey, just a note before we get started that this audio might sound a little different today. That is because, as you probably have guessed, if you've been around for a while, I am on the road. I am away from my little podcast studio / closet. And so I am actually recording from a hotel in Iowa, middle of Iowa. It is very windy here. It is very cold. I got to meet with one of my VIPs yesterday for a whole session. It was so fun. And now I am just wrapping up. I'm about to head home, but wanted to make sure I got this episode to you because there is something very much on my mind, and that is the pressure of January. If you're feeling it, you're not alone, and I just want to stop it before it gets out of hand. All right? So, without further ado, here is this week's episode. Hello, welcome back to Calm AF. So happy to be here with you. If you're new here, hello, I'm Kristen. Welcome. So happy to be with you. If you have been around for a while, you know how we roll. Make yourself at home, grab yourself a cup of coffee, because I've got some things I want to say. Because we are a couple weeks into January. We are fully in to our new year now. And here is a thing that happens every new year a couple of weeks in. There is this pressure that shows up, this little inner voice that is telling you that by now, a couple weeks in, you really should have your whole plan figured out, your whole year figured out, every goal, every benchmark, every little step that you're going to take in this journey of achieving your goals, of becoming your future self. You should already be 2 weeks into your habits. Your new identity should feel locked in. This is what our voice in our heads tell us, because this is what our society tells us. And if you're not here yet, if you aren't 2 weeks locked in, it can really start to feel heavy, like, great, cool, I'm already behind. We are 14, 15, 20, 30 days into January, and somehow I'm already behind. That's just great. The year may as well be over, right? I just want to nip this shit in the bud before it goes any further, because not only is it not true that you should be locked in, it's also not how change actually works, at least not lasting change. It is not how habits form. This is not how identities shift. It's not how neuroplasticity works. It's not how humans work. And for that matter, it's not how anything in nature works. And please don't think that you are different somehow than anything else that is alive. Just because you've got a human brain and Google calendars and a planner and goals does not take you out of being alive, an alive part of nature. Look outside right now. If you're in the northern hemisphere right now, this is winter. If you look around at all the other things that are alive, not much is happening. This is not a high action season for things that are alive in nature. This is a slowing down season. It's a hibernating season. It's a dormant season. This is a just be season, right? The trees are bare. They're not budding. Animals that hibernate are hibernating. Everything that is alive is doing exactly what it's meant to do during this season, which is resting, regenerating, maybe starting to grow, but it's underground. It's under the surface. And we humans, again, we're not separate from that. at the end of the day, we are still living creatures on this planet. We just happen to have these little annoying computers in our heads. And the little computers have learned that slowing down feels unsafe. Our human brains over the years have learned that urgency, busyness, rushing around, having a lot of things to cross off your list, that feels productive. Like that is better than slow or still or resting. Our brains and our nervous systems love timelines. They love to see visible progress. So we plant a seed and then we immediately want to check if it's growing. We dig it up. We look at it, question it. We're like, did I plant it wrong? Is this the right place? Should we have put it somewhere else? Did I even pick the right seed? So we just keep digging it up, and moving the seed around to different places, which means that seed can't actually ever grow, because growth happens when the seed is left alone long enough to root. You gotta give it a minute. The problem is that this stage of achievement, this stage of goal development doesn't look, I don't want to say impressive, but it doesn't look like anything's happening. It doesn't look productive. It doesn't feel exciting, like, oh my God, there it is, it's sprouting. And here we are, humans with our little brains, in January, planting a seed and just digging it up and moving it around. And January makes it harder because as a society, we've decided this is the new you month. Fresh start, big goals. Let's go. Which sounds, again, it's exciting until it starts to feel like pressure. January isn't really the month we need to be like hustling to prove it. If you want the change to last and you don't want to have to come back and keep moving your seed all over the place. This is really more of a let it root kind of a month. Let it settle. Let the seeds that you're planting, let the identity that you are stepping into take root. Who are you becoming? What identity are you stepping into? What are you leaving behind? The answers to that take quiet. They require a little bit of space. And instead, what we're doing is we plant the seed, and if we don't feel like it's happening really quickly, our brain is like, what's going on? And we dig it up, and move the seed around. Yes, taking action matters. You cannot just sit around coming up with goals, but once you've decided on them, you want to give it a little bit of space, because the energy behind the actions that you take matters. When action is coming from that hurry up energy, from pressure, it feels anxious, it feels heavy. When you let your identity kind of take root, the actions that will come from that energy feel natural. It feels like alignment. This is in alignment with my future self, the new identity I'm stepping into, what they would do naturally. And your body absolutely feels the difference, because when you are trying to hustle and you are trying to take action from, I'm running out of time, I'm already behind, I gotta go. When it feels like it's coming from that feels like forcing, it's white knuckling, and that is what requires willpower, because you're constantly pushing through something that doesn't feel natural. Identity-driven action feels like, oh, this is just what I do now. Not because this is what I'm supposed to do, not because this is what I should do according to that podcast I listened to or that book I read. this is what I am going to do because this is what the new identity of me just does. So instead of I am the same person, my old identity, but now I'm forcing myself to do this new thing, it becomes this is who I am now and this is what I do. That shift changes everything. So if we were going to use a simple example, a very common example, one of your kind of ideas of your new identity is you want to exercise more. So January 1st, you've got your plan. Here's what I'm doing. Here's my routine. Here's my schedule. But if you haven't run that past the identity that you are stepping into, it's going to feel like forcing. The version of you who just exercises doesn't debate it, doesn't overthink it, doesn't complicate it, doesn't make it a big friggin' deal. She just wakes up and at some point in her day, she exercises. Maybe she goes to the gym. Maybe she does yoga. Maybe she does her exercise at night, even though she's been trying to force herself into early mornings because she actually has more energy at night. Those are the sorts of things that you figure out when you've stepped into the new identity and you've kind of run it through the filter, not the other way around. You don't force habits to become the new identity. You become the new identity and the habits follow. And that is how you create habits and change that is sustainable and lasting. And January can really be a powerful time for this if you will allow yourself to be nature, to be a living creature that is part of nature, and let it be slower. Because the first and most important step in establishing a new identity and establishing new habits isn't action. It's getting to know the version of you that's emerging. How do they move through their day? What do they care about now? What do they not complicate anymore? What do they not overthink? You don't need all the answers yet. You just need some space so you can start noticing. So I'm going to give another example. If you think about like a character in a TV show, let's use Friends. I feel like everybody knows the show Friends. And let's use Jennifer Aniston as the role of Rachel Green. When Jennifer Aniston got the very first script and started to step into the role, the character of Rachel Green, she had an idea of who Rachel was. She had backstory, she had context, but she didn't know everything yet. She didn't know all of her little idiosyncrasies. She didn't know all of the things that there is to know about this character because it was still a little bit new. But as the seasons go, Jennifer Aniston as Rachel, Jennifer Aniston's getting to know Rachel. And we are getting to know Rachel, right? Over 10 seasons, she learned the character more deeply. She just knew what Rachel would do. She wasn't trying to, fix something or force something on Rachel. She was just being Rachel and knowing how she would deliver this line, how she would react to something going on in the scene. She just knew it more and more and more over time, because that's how living inside an identity works. You refine it as you live it. That is how identity shifts happen. You will not be able to have it all mapped out. You will not know the exact routine that your new identity has immediately, perfectly from the beginning. You need to take your best guess based on what you know now, and then give yourself some time to live inside it so you can tweak it, so you can adapt it. And if you're sitting there thinking, oh, that's great, but I haven't even started thinking about this new identity yet, it doesn't matter. You're here listening to this episode, which means something is already happening. Something is already maybe growing underground, and just because you can't see it yet, or it hasn't sprouted doesn't mean there's nothing happening. It's already starting. Relax. Growth doesn't always look loud. Growth doesn't always look busy and productive, because the biggest part of real transformation is what happens quietly under the surface. We don't need to rush. We don't need to be action-packed. You just want to let your roots take root. You will thank yourself later. I promise you, because you aren't going to have to be exhausted and going back and redoing all of the work that you did for an identity that you hadn't really stepped into yet. You will thank yourself. Okay? If this helped settle your nervous system a little bit, please take that with you. And if you want to go deeper into identity shifts and nervous system regulation, check the show notes. There are several different ways that you can continue this work in a way that feels aligned for your new identity. Thank you for being here. Have an amazing rest of your day. I'll see you next time.